When I was growing up here in North Carolina, Charlotte was the big city. But who would have ever thought that it would become the city that it has, in fact, become? You know better than I that this city has become a national hub of arts, education, business, finance, and athletics. And now you can add politics to your list. With the announcement of the Democratic National Convention coming here in 2012, you and everyone in this community deserves a lot of congratulations for that. Maybe some condolences, but it is going to, again, put a spotlight and put Charlotte on the map. But more importantly, what it is, it's yet another indication that the nation recognizes what we have all long known about Charlotte and this community. It is indeed the Queen City, and all of North Carolina is proud of what you have accomplished. Much of your success is based on a vibrant business sector that is community-focused and community-minded. When Charlotte makes a commitment to do something, whether it's the creation of an NBA team, an NFL team, or getting a political convention, you can bank on the business people in this community to come together, figure out how to get it done, and get the ball across the line. So when I was preparing to talk to you today, I reflected a little bit about what makes gatherings like Hargett an enduring tradition, not only in the Charlotte community, but around North Carolina. Most of us in business have far more to do than we can possibly get done, and that's what makes business exciting. But what makes it worthwhile to get together several times a year in groups like this with fellow business people is the fellowship, the collaborations that are built at each of these tables, the new friends that are made, and all of that energy comes together to create a potential for success in this community. And I'm sure that around the room this morning, there were conversations about what it is that you and we could accomplish together. And I was reminded of Bill Shore, who captured an idea in his book, The Cathedral Within. Bill founded Share Our Strength, which is a great anti-hunger organization. And in his book, he wrote about a letter he received from a 45-year-old man who was thinking about what he wanted to do next in his life. And the man said, "I want to do something that counts, that makes a difference." That man happened to be Mike McCurry, who at that time was press secretary to President Clinton, who was beginning to think about the next chapter in his life. And so it goes with us. Whatever it is that we've been privileged to accomplish in our careers, we still yearn to do something else that counts, something else that matters. So I think we ultimately come to events like this and spend a Friday morning with each other to learn how to become better people and how to serve our communities. And that's one of the philosophies that we have at our core at Blue Cross Blue Shield. And we're engaged in the Charlotte community. I have been in my new role now, or my role, it's not so new anymore, 1 year, February the 1st. And I think this is at least my 6th trip to Charlotte in this past year. I'll be back at the end of March. And I am committed to keeping at least an every other month rhythm for 2 or 3 days. And as Ellie said last night, we're going to work on an every other week trip to Charlotte because this is an important place and it is an important market. And I want to thank all of you who are our customers and our partners in delivering health care for entrusting us with that relationship. And that relationship reminds us at Blue Cross that we have a commitment and a duty to be commitment to build a better community here. And I'm just going to mention 2 ways that we believe we are doing that. We are currently leading a program to equip 20 area churches with life-saving AEDs, automatic external defibrillators, arming congregations across the region with that resource just in case it might be needed when there are activities going on there. We're excited about our new partnership with the Bobcats. You may have read about that, and their emphasis in expanding and promoting health and fitness among area children and adults. And of course, we're particularly proud of our long-standing partnership and relationship with the Panthers. And for the past 7 years, our foundation has proudly invested in and participated with Mecklenburg County's 7 free clinics, helping build their capacity and their ability to serve this area and this region's uninsured. And I was looking at a data point the other day. Since the beginning of that partnership, our foundation has invested over $2 million in the 7 free clinics here in this community. And last but certainly not least, we are delighted to bring Ellison Clary to the Blue Cross family in September to be our person on the ground here in Mecklenburg County. You know him. He's everywhere. And we're glad that he is part of our team. He's a longtime fixture here in the community. And so if you can't reach someone else at Blue Cross, I know you'll be able to see and find Ellie, and he will take any and all of your concerns or compliments and make sure that they are addressed. And stay tuned. Next week, we will announce our support of one of your city's latest visionary initiatives. And I was embargoed, so I can't say what it is, or I would lose my job, and I like my job. But stay tuned for next week. Now, let's talk a little bit about health care, and I'm just going to talk about it thematically because we will have some time for questions, and I had rather answer your questions about specifics. We've got a lot of needs in North Carolina. The uninsured and underinsured is one of them, and last December I was proud to travel to Charlotte and be here and volunteer along with 130 of our employees at the massive free clinic that this community had downtown, where over 1,100 people were seen in one day, meeting both medical and dental needs. It was an incredible experience. And as I reflected upon that experience, I think about what I heard and saw on the floor that day. And one of my responsibility was to help people check in. And, of course, you engaged in conversation. And it ranged from people that I couldn't talk to because I literally could not speak their language, and we had interpreters there to help, to an individual that looked like me, who about 18 months ago had a 34-year career ended in publishing, and since that time had been struggling to find work, and now found himself in a free clinic to get some medical care that he had been unable to access, in particular for the last 6 months. What struck me about that experience is everybody in that line looked like somebody in this room and beyond. Now, on the one hand, it was encouraging to participate in that experience because people were coming together to do something about it, even if it was just one day. That's how we do things here in North Carolina. When there's a problem, we take hold of it and try to figure it out. On the other hand, the outpouring of people who needed treatment was just a small piece of evidence of the millions of North Carolinians who struggle each day to get basic medical care. And I know times are hard and public and charitable resources are stretched, but we've absolutely got to do better. So, health care reform. I'm confident that as we go around the room, there's diverse opinions about the health care reform bill. And I want us to think about the conversation that we are having this morning and think about the legislation and then think about health care reform. They are certainly related, but they are two separate subjects. Let's talk about the law just a minute. It provides us with a rare moment of opportunity to work together towards a healthier North Carolina and rein in the cost of health care. At Blue Cross, we're having unprecedented conversations with doctors, hospitals, business leaders, elected officials, about what we can all do together to improve the health care system here in North Carolina. Those conversations are taking place right here in this community. I'm here today with my good friend Russ Guerin at CMS, and there are creative and innovative ideas and conversations going on right now that we want to accelerate and move forward with here in Charlotte. It's led us to do some things and think about things that would not have been conceivable a short time ago. For example, we are creating and developing in collaboration with our provider partners new ways of paying for their quality and their expertise, not just for the number of procedures that they do. A real emphasis on what will make patient care better. And you know what? We're finding that focusing the payment on effective care doesn't just improve quality for the patient, it actually saves money. When you do something right the first time in your business, it saves you money. That concept is the same for health care. And just a few weeks ago, we announced a wonderful partnership with the UNC healthcare system. And together, we are going to literally build a new kind of medical practice, one in which teams of healthcare providers in one single location work to care for the whole patient, a true medical home. That's a concept that we are going to work hard to see that it catches on, that can be scaled up and replicated across North Carolina. And that's not necessarily with UNC Healthcare. But the model can be replicated with whoever the major or progressive thinking provider partner is in communities around North Carolina. And the Blue Cross Blue Shield Foundation. We have been working with family physicians across the state to encourage promising medical students to enter and stay in primary care where their expertise and the volume needs to increase. Now, I can't predict, and we don't know, ultimately, what Congress is going to do with the health care reform law. But in the meantime, at Blue Cross, we're committed to working with everybody who is willing to reforming the health care system in North Carolina. That needs to happen even if the bill is repealed tomorrow morning. We are on an unsustainable path. And in your business, if you sit down and look at trends and you know that the direction that you're headed is not the right direction, you stop taking accounting and you make change. And that is where we are, and that is what we must do. And I, like you, have some misgivings about the law. And trust me, during the debate that was hot and heavy about a year ago right now, I had to clench my teeth sometimes at some of the inaccurate descriptions that were focused on my industry during the debate. But after a moment, you have to think about the good things and what it is that you can do in a positive way. And that's what I have been focused on over the last year. One significance of this legislation is that it provides us a historic opportunity. My guess is that in the last year to 18 months, every person in this room has thought more about health and health care than you did in the previous 5 to 10 years. And that's a good thing, because we need your attention and we need your focus. It brings us closer to a day where Americans won't have to fear financial or health ruin when they get sick. It'll bring coverage to tens of millions of North Carolinians and Americans and provide government subsidies to those who cannot afford premiums. The law is a strong step, but it falls way short, and there's a lot more that we all need to do. The law does very little to address the underlying issues that make health care so expensive to begin with, including our own personal poor lifestyle health choices, our demand for the latest technology, the latest drug, the latest magic pill, and the latest and cutting-edge innovation whenever we want it. I talk to, and I bet you Russ can tell you these same stories, I talk to physicians all the time who say, I walk into the room and there's the patient sitting there with the printout from the internet, and they will hand me and say, Doc, this is what's wrong with me, and this is what I want you to do. Now, there's good news in that because we're all becoming more informed and engaged, and indeed we need to do that. But it sure does create a dilemma for them to then engage and practice their craft and steer and guide that patient to what it is that they truly need. Now, because of healthcare costs increasing, it is going to continue to put pressure on premiums. And that's going to be a challenge for us, and it's going to be a challenge for all of you who buy coverage. But we've been pleased in our recent conversations with our provider partners about health care cost. We all realize that the cost are the do and die equation in health care reform. And as always, we know these conversations may get a little bumpy and a little tough along the way, but we are committed to staying in that conversation and making sure that we can work to a productive end. But the fact of the matter is, we've all got to change. Everybody, my company, the provider community, and all of us. There is no way that we are going to get ourselves off of this unsustainable path unless we all change. Now, you may have recently read that my company generated some disagreement among doctors about our policy on spinal fusion surgery, and I just want to mention this as an example. Solid medical research indicates that spinal fusion surgery is no better than non-surgical solutions in many cases. The evidence is there. As a result, we began requiring prior approval before this kind of surgery could be performed for our members. The clinical research shows that our policy has a sound scientific basis, and we were, in fact, in a position where it could eliminate some significant and unnecessary expenditures from the system. We invited conversations with the doctors throughout this process, and we recently clarified some of the aspects of our policy based on those discussions. But we held firm in our fundamental and basic policy. But our conversations were civil and constructive. And here's what one surgeon had to say in the newspaper, so it's on the public record. Quote, "We were blown away that they, Blue Cross, listened to us and wanted to work in a collaborative way to come up with what's best for patients." We appreciate that testimony, and that is the attitude and spirit that we bring to the change that will occur in healthcare in North Carolina. Now, as we tackle these problems, listening is the single most important attribute that we can all bring to our work. And it's about listening in the right way. We have a principle at Blue Cross that in every conversation we assume positive intent. And imagine how much we could get done if we viewed all of our dealings with each other every day, whatever the subject might be, with that point of view. So at our company, we're looking for new ways to listen to our customers, listen to doctors, listen to our employers, partners, listen to our employees, and decision makers. So just last week, I hope you'll make a note of this, we launched a new website. It's called blueasksunc.com. It is a crowdsourcing site, and it is a place where anybody can go and engage in a conversation about health and health care. Yes, we understand that people can go there and scorch the earth if that's what they want to do. But we have to talk about these issues. And we invite you to go there and look. It has been remarkable as what has been stimulated already in just the short period of time that it has been open. And we are going to escalate and stimulate in the months ahead a serious conversation about health care cost. This website is also an indication of our philosophy of more transparency, not only into what we do at Blue Cross and how we run our business, but how health care is delivered across this state. So please take a look at it. Now, we're not leading the charge because it's good for our business. It's essential for all businesses, for all people, and the sustainability of our health care system. So as I conclude, I don't need to remind you that these are crucial times for all of us. The decisions that we make right now as individuals, as business leaders, and as North Carolinians will affect the survival of our businesses, the education of our children, and the competitiveness of our state, and the long-term health of our people. I would submit to you that having a healthy North Carolina, a quality system at the lowest cost, is a great economic development strategy. Companies are looking to build and expand and locate in those areas that can offer that resource. So as we continue our discussion and grapple with these issues, we need to ask ourselves this question: why are we here in the first place? Why is it that we get up and do what it is that we do, whatever it is that you do every day? And answering that question will help us find our way and help us make the right decisions about the future of our community and state. As I alluded to earlier, most of us are here today because someone, perhaps someone that we didn't even know, took an action to create a better life for us. I thought about the history of our company. It started in a pretty tough time, a time called the Great Depression. Now, we've had tough economic circumstances of late, but I don't think it compares much to what the folks in the 30s were experiencing. And here in North Carolina, leaders came together, and with $250 in the midst of the Great Depression, started the company that ultimately became Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina. That's the North Carolina way. And that's why I am confident that together, whatever our challenges may be in health care and beyond, that we are going to figure this out. And a long time from now, someone will look back and say, thank you to the leadership that was applied at that time for making our life better.